Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, can hear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to start our lecture in 2 more minutes. We're waiting for Bo to come in. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to start our meeting today. Today, actually, a few things that we need to do. The first thing is our confirm video on the date of our FIP progress monitoring. Second, we're looking at the progress of how the submissions pattern look like. And third, I will give you some introduction to the research methodology. Yeah. So first thing first, let me share. Oh, yeah, I should try to share my slide. Okay, can you see the slide?
No.
No.
No, sir, we
Let
can't
me
see the
see.
slide.
No.
Yeah. Let me see first. Where's the okay. Can you see?
Yep,
Yes.
now we can see the slide, sir.
Okay, so I don't need to put the bigger size slide because since you are using your computer, you should be able to see. Okay, we look at this one. Now, the next milestone should be on the 5th. On the 5th, to submit your chapter 3. Okay, we'll discuss a short while. Then the next one will be on 17th January. Submission FYP report and paper for assessment. And 24th and 25th, reserved for presentation if you have any. Okay, so the 24th and 25th is online. It's online assessment. You are doing pre-recorded. Pre-recorded says mean your video will be submitted about around 20th of January. okay, on 20th January. If examiner or supervisor require you to have further explanation because your videos or pre-recorded videos are not clear, they need you to present. Means 24th and 25th will be the time reserved. If examiner or supervisor requested you to present, these 2 days you cannot say no. You must say yes. It is but I think 90+% of the project are not called for presentation. Mostly they are happy with what you have done in pre-recorded lah. That's not happen in the past. So I hope you also try to put some effort to prepare a good presentation and do recording and pass all the guidelines how to prepare paper, prepare the video. I will have another session with you. Okay, today we focus on the chapter 3 and I'll make it short as well. Okay, now the second agenda is, although today is already on the 5th with the third milestone, fourth milestone is submit, but still a lot of students are not doing submission. So from here you can see this is the name. Some is even chapter 1 and 2 no submission. You see, I'm not going to read the name by one, but I will put this out in your Telegram group later on, and I will also email to all the supervisor. Anything? So I will discuss. I will email this one to all the supervisor to tell them we are going to have the last milestone on the 17th. So make sure the students are progressing. So that is very important. We also want to know whether the students are not active anymore or whatever. But if you see any of your friends is in the list, please remind them as well to submit, especially those are not submitting for chapter 1 and 2. Yeah, help to remind them 1 and 2. Okay, we'll just quickly go through. This is the green color is those without submitting the chapter 2, and orange is the chapter 1. So if they have 2 color means they are not even submitted chapter 1 or 2. Okay, so this is the second agenda done. Okay, any question? Please help to inform your friend. So I will actually put this out by tomorrow. Okay, next one is our main agenda today. I'm going to share my slide. Okay, you can see the slide, right? Can you see the slide? Yes, okay. Okay. Actually, normally chapter 3 is quite difficult to give to discuss with you because as I informed you beginning of the lectures, you have a lot of type of project. So chapter 3 basically is not limited to research methodology. Chapter 3 is a chapter that allow you to write how you complete, how you do your project. Okay, so you are doing research, then we say research methodology. If you are doing system development, you are discussing about from the SDLC or agile method, all the development methods. Then if you are doing hardware development, then you will tell how to design, what theory behind. You look if you are doing then you will tell how you collect the data. You are doing some on modeling, you will tell us how, where, and how you collect the data for modeling. So in short, chapter 3 is the chapter that actually allow you to tell or document how you're going to do your project to achieve your objective, and how you solve the problem. So this is the very important chapter. And this chapter will also determines how easy you proceed with your FYP2. If you are doing chapter 3 well, next semester you are less hassle and you can actually doing your development on the first day of next semester. But if this chapter 3, if you do not do it properly, you just simply write without doing a good enough planning, then you might have to redo chapter 3. So this is faced by a lot of students on FYP2. So please do your chapter 3 according to your project and according to the actual action plan that you're going to do. Okay, so this chapter will answer what you're going to do, how you do it, and why. So with these 3 questions, you will go to answer to the readers or to the thesis that what you are solving actually, how, what method, what theories, what equipment, what devices, what data, what algorithms, what model you use in this chapter. And not only telling how, but you also need to justify why those methods are chosen in your project. So all this should be based on chapter 2. Let's say, example, whatever is discussed method you mentioned in this chapter should be reviewed in chapter 2. Your chapter 2 is the review you done to identify what method is good to solve a problem, how you do, then you choose it. Whatever you selected in chapter 2, you will discuss in chapter 3 to tell how you use it to implement or to do prototype or to develop the algorithm to complete or to achieve your objective of the project. So this chapter is very, very important. And this chapter is linked with chapter 2 as well. You cannot suddenly come up with a method you're going to solve your problem and never discuss in chapter 2. Or you are selecting a method which chapter 2 said this method is the lousy method or the worst method, then but you still use it. There is something wrong. Okay, whatever you choose here, whatever you do here, you must be based on the result of chapter 2. So this is very important. I have to remind you this the easier, because most students are doing development, I mean system development. So system development you already have standards project methodology like object oriented, you have SDLC, there's so many different. But you have to remember, if you chosen that one as your methodology, please do not deliver the lecture notes. Example, first is information gathering example. Then you say information gathering is a process of gather all the data I needed for project. Don't tell me that. Everybody know that is the process. But what you need to tell is, you have to tell how you gather information. Either you are using questionnaire, who is your audience, how you extract it, and all these things you have to tell. The actual process you're going to do. Not tell me the process, but tell me the actual process. How many people you are interviewing? Are you going to analyze the paper, the report, the form? So how many form you have? You need all these things you have to mention in case you are doing system development. So you have to tell everything. In case you are doing, let's say, modeling, then you have to start explaining the sampling method, okay, the data, what type of data you needed. As I said just now, if you are talking about all this has to be discussed in chapter 2. How you do sampling. Let's say you're talking about sampling, you're talking about type of data you need. All this has to be already discussed well in chapter 2. You cannot suddenly put a criteria to choose data example without referring to chapter 2. Okay? So you must, everything you talk here, you must have referred in chapter 2 or this explain chapter 2. That is very, very important. You cannot simply come up with some method from the A without telling the details. Yeah, so that is very, very important. So the next one, after you know which method you're going to use, what data, okay, what then you need to actually explain how, okay, how and why. So we go into detail to see. So in this chapter, I cannot give you a how to say a solid or a definite answer for your project because there are so many type of project that you are doing. Some are doing cybersecurity, some are doing blockchain, some are doing project. So it depends. You have to discuss with supervisor how you focus your project. So if you are focused on system development, then you are using a development method. You are doing modeling or algorithm, then it different. You're doing framework will be different. So all have to determined by you and your supervisor. But all are the same. This chapter is to justify, to tell how you do, what you do for your project to solve the problem you mentioned and to achieve the objective that you are doing actually. So make sure all whatever you said in this chapter are in line, are synchronized toward your objective and problem. So a lot of students, they're talking about the problem, different problem, they are reviewing different problem and they're solving different problem. So that is the something not right. You have to make sure all are same. So today, our discussion will focus is what is the research methodology, the end of research methodology, why research methodology is important, the content of research methodology, and common problem. So this is the fundamental of this chapter. But as I say again, you are not doing research, but the content is still on what, how, and why. Okay, so I'm using this one as a best to this as a general discussion so that you can understand what is going on chapter 3. Okay, a good methodology or good chapter 3 will promises success for the project. So if you are doing software development, this chapter basically is on the requirement specification. Requirement specification, you're designing the screen, you're designing the processes, you're designing the features, you're designing the database. So this is the chapter that actually cater for that. So a good chapter 3 will promise success for the project. Impress the reader, assessor about your project potential. So when normally until chapter 3, then I will always tell students, chapter 1, 2, 3 is on paper. We say talk only, discuss only. Then the 4, 5, 6 is the practical side of your project. So this semester you can say whatever you like, but make sure it's something practical, something can be done, something can be implemented. Okay, so that's why through your chapter 3 documentation, we will be able to assess whether your project have potential is correct. Let's say all the material you want to use, you have mentioned in chapter, all the data also. But if from the data you mentioned, we already know whether this modeling or this project analysis will going to happen or not because the data you mentioned. So from this chapter, we will be able to decide whether you are going to do a good project or not. So next will determine your research validity and direction. Okay? So this chapter also would, if you are using the wrong theories, wrong concept, wrong method you mentioned, then we know this research is not valid. Example, let's say you are doing some developing, you are developing some software for elderless, for old men, but all your sampling are children, then we know you are doing something wrong already. So not going to get a valid result. You are not going to get a correct specification and requirements, and all this will tell us you are basically not doing a good job. Yeah, so the wrong direction as well. So give an overview on the changes of the project towards success. So this will also give the reader an overview what you're going to do. Like, let's say you want to build a house. The house plan is chapter 3. The actual work done by construction in the site is the prototyping or the chapter 4. So this is the difference. So this basically is the blueprint and the design, the paperwork of your project. Yeah. Let's say if we are, as I said just now, if we are developing a house, this should be considered as a house plan. Yeah, house plan. Okay, the end. What's the end for this chapter? Intended to convince others that you have the competence and the work plan to complete it. Let's say before you buy a house, you also look at a plan, right? Whether you want to buy or not, you are looking at a plan because most of the houses are not built yet. So if the plan can convince you this is a good house, good design, you will buy it, right? You'll buy, and this is the same thing as well. So from the chapter 3, we'll know whether you are actually doing a good job or not in your projects. Also, this is the end of chapter 3 to tell how you plan to tackle your research problem. In chapter 1, you have research problem, right? You're talking about problem. Then in chapter 2, you already justified this is the actual problem. This is happened now. And chapter 3 is you tell people how you tackle. When you say how you tackle problem means you have to choose a method to solve it. So the method has to be reviewed in chapter 2. I mentioned before, in chapter 2, all the method you review at least 3. Out of 3, you choose one based on criteria, based on benchmarking, or based on anything that you put as a measurement tools to measure which one is good. Okay, next one. Provide your work plan and describe the activity necessary for the completion of the project. So in chapter 3, basically discussion also from 1 to n. Mean you start with the following the sequence, the activities, then you explain. Don't discuss the result, and so the whole chapter has to be phase step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This is how you arrange your chapter 3. So this is the work plan. So similar with doing house as well, you need to start with fundamentals, then with first floor, second floor, third floor. Yeah. Okay, what you should have in your research methodology of chapter 3, all key elements involved in research process or in development process or in algorithm developments. Sufficient information to be able to research. So you should have all the processes, all the information, all the method, all the step by step has to be discussed in this chapter. Okay, what you plan to achieve, you have to be here in this plan as well. Every step you do in this chapter, you explain, you have to tell what is the plan, why you want to do it. Okay, normally why you want to do it, you can refer back to the chapter 2 literature review. They will tell you more. How you going to do it? So this is also how you already selected 3 methods to review in chapter 2, and now you choose one. Then how you going to do it to solve your problem. So sufficient information to convince the reader about your methods. So you have to have information to convince why you do so, why you choose 5 people only, why you choose 10 people, why you collect the data from Cellcom, not collect the data from Unimas. All this you have to explain. The ideas and Prof, as you have done a good review on concept, method, theory related to problem. So all these had to be explained in chapter 3, including you choose the criteria, why this criteria be chosen, why you do testing this way, why the prototype had to be only 5 features, or anything you do in this on your system you plan to do, you have to explain in this chapter. The main whether methodology is sound. So this the information you putting down, you justify in this chapter has to be enough for the readers or assessor, examiner to judge whether your method is valid or sound. Any questions so far?
No.
No. Okay. I think this will give you some general ideas how you should write your chapter 3. Okay. Chapter 3 very important. Okay. Good research material, good chapter 3 should contain sufficient detail for another qualified researcher to implement the study. That means our project we have two parts, FYP1, FYP2. So whoever read your FYP1 should be able to implement without you exit there. That means I doing this research, I want to implement, I just pass the chapter 1, 2, 3 to another guy that I don't know. I not even need to say anything. The guy going to implement, they're able to implement based on your chapter 3. Similar with a house, after the architect design the house, engineer design the house, they don't need to talk to the developer or to the contractor. The contractor based on plan will be able to build the house. So that is considered a good plan. So similar with project. If you have done a sufficient detail for the chapter 3, without you exit, the one that taking your plan able to implement it without asking a single question. So that's considered a good chapter 3, a good research methodology. Okay, you don't need to ask. Example, you pass, you want to do some survey. In your chapter 3, you didn't say anything. So you want to survey, I should get data from where, who should I choose, how I choose, and everything is not inside. So the implementer cannot do anything. So that is considered not a good chapter 3. So make sure this is how. So normally I ask our FIP student, FIP1, I say you pass your 1, 2, 3 to your roommate, your classmate, your best friend. Ask them, can they implement this one if they only read your thesis without asking any question to you? If they say, I cannot understand, not even say implement, understand what chapter 3, that means you are not doing a good job for chapter 3. So that is the measurement you can use to check how good is your chapter 3. If after read your chapter 3, there's so many questions asked, this means your chapter 3 do not have sufficient details yet. Yeah. So that is how you measure. Okay. What should you know about research methodology? Make sure that you are not reinventing the wheel. This means you are not using the same method that have been proven fail. We are not going too far, maybe within your seniors or your supervisor or from your reviews. Then you should as also demonstrate your knowledge of the process problem. It means in chapter 3, you are actually telling the reader you are very confident, you know everything about this problem and you know everything how to solve the problem. So that is very important. Demonstrate your understanding of the theoretical and research issue related to your research question. Because as now we mentioned, you already knows the problem and the problem is valid. There are so many theories, there are so many methods, there are so many solutions can be used to solve it. So this is a place, chapter 3, to tell the reader that you understand well and you know which method is the best and for your research question. So your ability to critically evaluate relevant literature. So this one also as well, because as I mentioned, whatever you say, whatever you write in chapter 3, so have done review in chapter 3. You cannot be suddenly in chapter 2, you reviewing theory 1, 2, 3. Then in chapter 3, you discuss the solution using ABC. Something wrong. This is not the way. Okay, what is the common problem that you are facing? I mean, you are facing in this your chapter 3, lacking focus in general. Some students, they like to copy, I mentioned just now, the lecture notes, SDLC. You explain phase 1 to phase 7, step 1 to step 7. You are lecturing me using the lecture note given to you, or from your supervisor, or from your lecturer, or system analysis design, or framework development. So you give back all the. So this sector should be not general. It's specific, telling on how you solve your problem and how you achieve your objective. The second common problem is failing to keep up with recent development. Whatever you discuss, your method are all already obsolete. Example, people are now using cloud based. However, you are still back to the old timer with the text interface. Example, so all are obsolete. So this is always happen because you do not have enough review. The next one, lack of support by theory and concept. Yeah, students like to write chapter 3 based on their common sense. This is not right. Even if from common sense, you still need to find a theory, a concept to support whatever you say. That's why it comes from reviews. Yeah, so you cannot say, I just use common sense, or everything common sense. Cannot. It must be supported. Lack of benchmarking or comparison to cite landmark study. Example, you want to know a criteria how to choose a good handphone. Example, so you don't use a common sense. You should be based on certain research saying that this is the best way. This is the criteria to choose a handphone. So you based on this one, so that you are not actually simply come out with criteria without support. Then that criteria may right, may wrong. Nobody can say. But you are doing some benchmarking, you should be able to get the right criteria for choosing a handphone, example. Or comparison to choose which algorithm is good, which model is good, which theory. Then you should have a fair and standard benchmark, so that with your comparison, your selection method actually acceptable and accepted by all the community in the area that you are doing. Failure to accurately present the theoretical and contribute by other users. This is very important, especially when you are using certain theories or certain concept to do. You have to present accurately, and don't generalize it or simplify it. Yeah. Failure to stay focused. This is important. You're talking about your organization of your whole chapter are not actually focused. You simply hit. You talk A, talk B, talk C, talk D. You do not focus. All your chapter 3 are not seen according to your stages or phases, okay? And all your problem objective as well. Okay? Too much detail on minor issue, but not enough detail on major issue. This is always happen to students. They discuss a lot of things, general thing, but no focus, no major issue. Let's say they are solving, an example, they are solving the database problem, but they're talking a lot on interface, talking about on other things, just to make the chapter 3 route tick, but actually no sustain. So this is always happen to students. So you don't measure your content by how thick is your chapter 3, but to measure according to relevancy of the content to your project. Okay, this is very, very important. This to share with you what's the role of supervisor in completing the thesis. So why I always like you to refer to supervisor, because supervisor should encourage timely completion. It must acknowledge that students have different pressure to cope and need to allow to take appropriate time. And writing usually take longer than students expect, 3 times the field work time. So the supervisor is encouraged thinking, writing, rather than a long period of writing and thinking. Encourage the handling in the rough of chapter to keep the production line moving. If until today you still do not think supervisor important for you, so that means something wrong. Supervisor role is to help you, to guide you, and to teach you what is the right and wrong, and make sure you are in the track. This is on this one I'm not going to touch. This process involved exploring the iterator to establish the nature of previous research. This is on review. I just repeat again. Building upon existing knowledge, identify appropriate research question, finding evidence. This one I go quickly because we have done this one before. Finding evidence to establish a need for the proposed research, developing our context of proposed investigation. So basically, the chapter 2 I mentioned to you will support the chapter 3. So in this chapter, they have all the things justified, including the question, the methods, okay, the evidence, the theoretical, everything have to be discussed. Everything you need in chapter 3, you use chapter 3, you discuss in chapter 3, you mention in chapter 3, have to be in chapter 2. Done in chapter 2. So the last one is identifying appropriate research method and techniques. So this is a review. So in chapter 3, no longer comparison of method. It just say algorithm A, I using algorithm A, I using theory B. No longer say why A is good B or not, because that one he done in chapter 2. So chapter 3 basically you are telling how to use it to solve a problem. Okay, this is back to expectation or review. And effective selection information given to student project, as I mentioned just now, all the selection of information in chapter 2 and chapter 3 has to be relevant to your project, especially your problem statement and your objective. Critical comparison of information of different sources. This is done in chapter 2. Chapter 3, after you select the result from chapter 2. Authoritative statement about what has been achieved and what is meant to be achieved. This is talking about the state of art. You also should understand that this is not an analysis but a process. We contribute shaping the research and the integral part of your thesis. So summarize what you have learned from their periodic literature research. Focus on which could include research outcome, method, and theory that you need for chapter 3. So the reviews will contribute to you. What's the outcome, what the method, what is theories that you need to solve this problem. Okay. This is on documentation. Students should be able to answer each of the following questions in 50 words and less except large question for each session and from whole thesis. What did you do? Why did you do it? What happened? What do the result mean in theory? What do the result mean in practice? What is the key benefit for readers? What remain unsolved? So the supervisor role is look for the mismatch between the text and the answer to the question above. So what I'm trying to say here is chapter 3 from beginning, from the use of theory on what, how, and why, until in chapter 3 you will also need to tell how you're going to test the result and how you interpret the result. All had to be told in chapter 3. So that when you reach chapter 5, the analysis, when the result out, you already know what the result indicated by the result given to you. So already in chapter 3. Let's say if you get 0.2 means it's good, 0.3 is not good, all had to be finalized in chapter 3. And chapter 5 is just to interpret the result from the experiment. Okay, professional reason, ethic, publication, author, contribution, acknowledgement. So normally the paper you wrote, if you look at the milestone, there is one part where you need to submit extract and paper. This is first exercise to train you how to write paper. And remember, this publication is you have to work together with your supervisor. You are the first author, your supervisor will be the second author. Then you need to acknowledge UNIMAS as well in the papers. Okay, so not misuse the student or supervisor, means you are the first author because the paper is wrote by you. So supervisors do not put their name as a first supervisor. Must be professional in the assessment, professional examiner selection. Next one. Okay, that's all. Any question?
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So just now
Please.
the questions, right? the student should be able to answer. That one is
Yes.
for research, is it?
Actually can be used for anything, project development, but of course our discussion here is more on research. But the I mean the the point here is can be used as well as a guide for other project as well, with some minor modification. Yeah.
Another thing is,
But for
can
the
you
question that I put out, of course, if you answer by using research way, this means straightforward. Yeah.
okay, thank you, sir. So I guess it can be applied to all of us, right? System
Yeah.
development and so
Because
on.
I cannot deliver all kind of different type of project. So I'm using this one as normal research as the fundamentals and generals discussion for us. Okay. But the specific one, you still need to back to the supervisor to guide you.
All right, thank you, sir. One more thing is for the paper, right? Is it
Yeah.
like a copy paste from our report, or is it how?
Should not be lah, because the copy from report it will be very thick, right? So normally paper is about 6 to 8 pages. So normally the easier way for final project is the student like to summarize chapter 1 to chapter 3, right? But there is but if you are doing a good project, normally you can do is you focus on your problem. You're explaining our problem, explaining how to solve it without go through without extracting the whole 3 chapter. So that's the higher level that you are able to do. But you are weak, we can start with summarize chapter 1, 2, 3 to become paper lah.
So it's just a summary of chapter 1, 2, 3 in general.
No, that's if you are not you are unable to extract the important point, or you are able to just using the problem that you mentioned discuss it. Then the because this is the first time you write paper, then I will advise you are unable, then you start with summary. But I encourage you to discuss your supervisor what is the thing that you want to highlight, because sometimes just to highlighting the problem and how the theory behind this problem is good enough to become a paper. Then one TC can have 2 3 paper sometimes, but for week then you summarize everything like this is the easier way. But I don't encourage you to do so unless you really do not have something interesting to be shared, enough to be shared as a paper, then you have to do summary. Even chapter 2
Okay.
itself already can become a paper if you have very interesting set of the art of the problem you mentioned. Yeah. Uh,
Okay, thank you, sir. So we just
yeah.
talk to our supervisor about this paper. And
Yes. You can
thank
propose
you.
to them as well. If your supervisor do not respond well. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Any other question? I hope you will be able to do the chapter 3 well. Okay, a lot of students thought chapter 3 is not important, but actually very important because they will determine whether you can implement a good job or not. Else, when you come back to chapter FYP2, you can start chapter 3 and you have to modify. They wasted a lot of time. Because for next semester, it should be the time for you to just implement the prototype or whatever lah. Okay. Any other question? Yeah. Rahul Kumar.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. I have one very short question. So,
Yes, please.
assuming that our chapter 3 and 2, as well as 1, as you mentioned earlier, it is all talk, and chapter 4, 5, and 6 will be all towards practicality and design and programming, right?
Yes.
So, assuming that our chapter 1, 2, 3 doesn't 100% reflect the final product in 4, 5, 6,
Ah,
the amendments will be able to be done in
okay.
the second FYP?
This is a good question. Very good question. It's a valid question as well. A lot of students facing you. There's normally what students do is they're wasting time by changing the chapter 2 and 3 toward the chapter 4, which you is just like you do everything. Then this is wasted a lot of time. My advice is you do properly with chapter 2 and 3. Normally, 100% there will be differences. Sure, you cannot get 100% correct, but you have a chapter 5 where we call it analysis result. And that chapter actually you analyze why you do not achieve something similar with chapter 3 or similar with design. Then you will justify why it's difference, which one make it different and what happened. We that kind of different we will accept. But the problem of student is normally totally change. That is the big problem. It's not you normally we are expecting some analysis done chapter 5 to tell why the result are different from what you expected. Yeah. So nothing wrong actually. And it's seldom you can get 100% similar what you talk and what you implement. So they understood. Yeah.
Hello,
And
sir.
some, yeah.
In short, so basically any changes that we make to our design, basically whatever we write in FYP1, we just let it be. And then in chapter 5, later on in FYP2, we justify our changes that we make in
changes.
chapter 4, 5, 6.
Changes or why that kind of design cannot be implemented, why they during implementation this cause problem cannot be do whatever, then you explain but with of course with a reasonable justification, not because of the justification should not be because of you are lack of information, lack of knowledge or lack of skill. That cannot be justification. It must be from the background. Let's say the data you collected, the quality of data are not out to what you expect because lacking of certain data or lacking or whatever, and that kind of thing will cause the result not as good as what you expect, and that kind of thing okay. Or you design
Okay.
10 features, 10 processes, but you cannot be able because of contradicting or whatever, and then you can explain and so on. A failed project also can submit as a final project if you are able to analyze where is the failure, why it failed, but that kind of failure cannot be caused by lack of knowledge or lack of skill. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. But one more thing is, of course, whatever we write in FYP1, we just let it be lah. We just attach it as
I
well.
mean, minor modification is alright lah. Sometimes because we understood because this is the first time in the project, you are not an experienced researcher, you are not experienced software engineer, so you need to touch up a little bit. It's okay, but unfortunately, a
Okay.
lot of students
Synchronize
they
lah.
do everything. That is not good lah. Yeah.
Okay, so we just touch up lah. But the thing is,
Yes.
when we touch up kan, in FYP2, it will no longer be marked again anymore, right? Is it?
But it will affect you because in the FYP2 you will submit chapter 1 to 6. The continuity, the synchronization of the presentation will cause certain mark as well.
Marks lah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just
Yeah.
synchronize lah. Okay, so it still gets marked.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, sir.
They say certain part of chapter 2 not relevant, you can take out or whatever lah. Yeah. Because after you implement yeah. Example lah.
Thank you, sir.
Any next question?
I have another question, sir. You know,
Yes.
you said that there are different type of project, right? System development, research, and then you say something about modeling. What is modeling about?
Modeling is research. Modeling is mean you want to come up with certain equation. So you analyze the data, you do statistic and modeling, so come up with formula A plus B plus C plus D equal to G. That kind of called modeling.
Oh, okay. I thought it's machine learning modeling.
Mathematic modeling. I should say mathematical modeling. Yeah. Any other question?
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all the good question. So hope everybody can benefit from the question as well. Okay, if not, then we will end our discussion. If you had any, okay, there's a question asking about the chapter 3, but I think you don't worry about chapter 3. You can submit few days, okay, because you want to refine it again in the before 17 as well. So you adjust the time lah, adjust the time. Yeah, the reporter is doing a good job. Yeah.
One more question, sir.
Yeah.
So let's say, right, for system development, in our chapter 3, we write our methodology, like introduction. It's quite, because we already have a predefined methodology like agile or this, right? So
Yes.
we just write that, right? correct, right?
Yeah,
And
but
then
the content of every single, let's say, requirement specification, you don't tell me what mean by requirement specification. You have to tell actually how you do it, how you interview, how you extract, how design, you know. So you have to tell on your system. Let's say you are creating some bus company, you will go and study, you extract the report, how many report you need, all things. You have to tell the actual one, not telling the lecture notes. Yeah.
okay.
A lot of students are actually putting the whole lecture note as a three. Yeah, that is very bad. Yeah.
So for the video recording for
I
the
will brief
presentation.
you before the final submission.
Okay, thank you,
How
sir.
you prepare, what you do, and what cannot do. Yeah, there's another one more meeting to tell you, to brief you, the preparation, everything. Yeah. Okay.
Very sorry, sir, I'm disturbing you again.
Yeah.
I have one more question that I am very sorry for everyone in year 4. I might be destroying all of you at this time for asking this question. So, sir, as I caught what you mentioned earlier, you said there is a flexibility for submission for chapter 3, meaning that we will be able to do the drafting up until the final submission for the whole
No, no.
FYP1.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is, you just submit your chapter 3, even you are not, yeah, the quality of chapter 3 are still not up to your standard, because this is just to monitor your progress report, progressing. So they will not use it for evaluation. You just submit whatever you have done, then you still have until 17 to modify everything into the standard that can be assessed. That's
Okay.
what I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I wanted to clarify that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? I will put out the share the attendance again in for 5 minutes. So after that, you please, I will stop. Yeah. Any other question? How actually, the student normally facing a lot of problem on getting a supervisor, but you have to learn how to make sure your supervisor do their work as well, to check on time. Of course, you cannot submit uh, 1 or 2 days expecting the supervisor to give you comment. It's impossible, because all supervisor have to read 15 to 20 project report because of examination and because of your thesis. So please give enough time and please make appointment prior to the final submission. Don't knock the door the day before the submission and asking the supervisor to actually approve your project. But that part I will share with you as well. I will share with you. Any other? I saw a few questions, Joanne. Uh, yeah, a lot of students are able to get supervisor. That is very strange for me, because you are working with them for a semester. You need to have their handphone, their office phone, their email as well, to make sure.
Sir,
Another thing is, yes.
I think she means examiner. The examiner doesn't reach cannot reach the examiner because the
Why
examiner
you need to reach an examiner?
she said her examiner is unreachable, and she emailed him many times. Even her supervisor tried contacting the examiner. How, yeah?
But for this stage, you don't need to. You don't not respond mean they cannot put under question to you in the end of semester. So it's okay. So don't I mean, the examiner don't respond to you means they don't have any comment in your project. That's what I already told all the examiner. If you don't give any comment at the end, if anything goes wrong with your project, you have to fully responsible. I mean, the examiner have to responsible lah. They cannot last minute ask you to change everything because of the neighbor comment lah. But normally we assume that no comment after the period, then it's okay. Then you just follow your supervisor. But this moment, the students should not be contacting the examiner. Yeah. Then as long as for this semester, we are not so strict. We assume all project will be approved. We don't comment or comment. It's approved this semester. Yeah. Any other question? You still can ask question in the Telegram. Please ask the question in the group so that everybody can benefit from the answer I give to you. Yeah, share your question. Yep. Okay. Have a good evening, and see you in 1 or 2 weeks time on the final preparation for the examination. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
New
Bye
Year to
bye. See you
all.
next year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.